Welcome to the Scaling Japan Podcast, a podcast about how to grow your business from $100,000 and beyond in the land of the rising sun.
Welcome to the Scaling Japan Podcast. On today's episode, we have Aya Murota. She is the manager of global startups in the Innovation Promotion Division for Yokohama City. Her department is part of the Economic Affairs Bureau, and she is going to tell us a bit more about the startup scene in Yokohama. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned this to everyone, but during my corporate days, our biggest client was Yokohama City, and we managed about 250 to 270 full-time teachers who were sent to the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of schools all across Yokohama, and we were deeply involved with their education department. And I can proudly say that I might have actually been to every station in Yokohama City. Before we start, here's a quick introduction to myself, your host. I am the CEO of Launch Lab. We support setting up a company and back office in Japan. We also provide affordable advisory on raising capital, IPO, and other finance topics. I also run Scaling Your Company that provides courses and sales advisory and digital marketing agency services for the Japan market. If you need help, feel free to reach out. But with that said, Aya, it's very nice to have you on. And could you please introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you, Tyson. Hello to all the listeners. My name is Aya, and I am currently working at the City of Yokohama as the manager of global startups. I joined the Innovation Promotion Division last year in October, and my mission is to globalize the startup ecosystem in Yokohama, approaching from both within and outside of Yokohama. So maybe a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Yokohama, and after living in Canada, Taiwan, and Tokyo for school and work, I decided to come back to the city that I really love. Before joining the City of Yokohama, I worked at a global startup company building a business from zero in Yokohama, and I really enjoyed the startup scene and was influenced by all the people involved. However, unfortunately, the business didn't go as expected, and we had to close down the business in less than 2 years. But during my time at the startup company, I learned that there were various support programs provided by the city to bring in foreign companies and startups from around the world. And luckily, I found the job opening for my current position, which matched exactly what I wanted to do, which is to globalize and build a startup ecosystem in Yokohama. I'm currently 8 months into the job, and so far it's been a great journey.
And many people I've talked to have said nice things about Aya. So you are well liked in the startup community. So also, yeah, Food Panda, I did meet the former country manager, and I really liked the campaign of using, was it Naomi Watanabe?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think she was a perfect choice.
Yes.
And so you guys had a good team, but it didn't work out.
Right.
And so, yeah, so I guess regarding Yokohama City, I think this will be a good chat because I think a lot of people don't know that actually Yokohama is the second biggest city in Japan after Tokyo.
Exactly.
But could you please tell us more about Yokohama?
Sure. So for those of you that are not familiar with the city, Yokohama is actually very close to Tokyo, just 30 minutes away from central Tokyo by train, and also 30 minutes away from the International Haneda Airport. And as you just said, we have a population of roughly 3.7 million, which makes us the second largest city after Tokyo. And when people imagine Yokohama, it's usually known for many tourist spots, such as the beautiful harbor area called the Minato Mirai area. And we also have the largest Chinatown in Japan and various museums such as the Cup Noodle Museum and Ramen Museum. And it's also actually ranked as the best city to live in the Kanto region for 7 consecutive years. And Yokohama is also a very global city. We have the history of opening up the first port to foreign trade. And there were many foreigners entering into and out of the city. And today we are home to many global companies' headquarters and R&D centers. And many foreigners and expats still live in Yokohama today. And to accommodate their needs, Yokohama has roughly 10 international schools, including the German school, India International School, and Chinese school. So Yokohama is not only a great place to live and have fun, but also we have a strong foundation for education and business with 28 universities and also an abundant supply of researchers and engineers.
Excellent. So yeah, Yokohama National University is a very
Yes.
good university, and
Right.
a lot of foreigners who live near Yamate Station
Mm.
who get to enjoy a nice view of the harbor. I lived in Yokohama for maybe 12 years. So I lived in three different parts, but my last 4 years was next to Yokohama Station. And I
Nice.
have a great time and I miss the convenience.
It's a really great city. I also went to one of the international schools.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot of good schools there.
Mhm.
So for Yokohama City, what industries or business types are you looking to attract with your department?
Yeah, so our core focus right now are mobility and green transformation or climate tech. Yokohama is actually home to many headquarters and R&D centers of automotive manufacturers such as Nissan, Isuzu, Mazda, Suzuki, and Hyundai, and also home to 18 of the top 30 global suppliers, including Continental Automotive, Bosch, and Schaeffler.
Are they located all across Yokohama or is it like in certain areas of Yokohama?
In certain areas, mostly in the Minatomirai area and not too far away from the Yokohama station. And also, we have numerous manufacturing and IT companies that are also making moves in the field of mobility innovation. And other than mobility, in April 2022, Yokohama was selected as one of the decarbonization leadership areas by the Ministry of the Environment. And we have since made actions to achieve decarbonization of the waterfront district, especially in the Minatomirai area. The city will also host the International Horticultural Expo, also known as the Green Expo, in 2027, where local and global companies and startups can showcase their most recent technologies related to climate and environment. Basically, we welcome startups from various areas. However, to differentiate ourselves from other cities, we specifically promote our city as a mobility hub and climate tech hub for startups.
Gotcha. So I think being selected as one of the decarbonization leaders definitely impacted the decision to go with climate tech as a climate tech hub. For mobility, is that related to the corporations that I would say actively participating in Yokohama?
Right. So as I just said, there's so many mobility manufacturers, software companies, and IT companies, and they're actually putting effort in open innovation with startups. So that's why it's a best place for startups to join if they're into the mobility industry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Hmm.
And what type of support do you offer to entrepreneurs?
Yep. So currently we have three major support programs for foreign startups. The first one is the mentoring program for startups interested in conducting demonstration experiments in Yokohama. We actually just started accepting applications from June until August 2024. And we welcome applications from innovative and high growth international startups in tech fields, such as mobility and climate tech. The selected startups will receive robust support to effectively conduct demonstration experiments in Japan, including field coordination, prototype development, and also finding relevant partners in Yokohama. And the second program is the various subsidies provided to companies entering and expanding their office to Yokohama. And such programs include grants, tax exemptions, and also support in finding their desired properties in the city. Lastly, like many other cities, we also provide the startup visa to foreign entrepreneurs, which will give them 6 months of preparation time to obtain a management administration visa. For this, not only does the startup visa team provide support in the application process and obtaining the visa, but we also provide hands-on aftercare, such as support in finding offices and housing, as well as connecting with local business specialists to get their business running.
And so I know it, depending on the city, it differs, but for the startup visa, what types of companies would you approve for the startup visa?
Currently, because we actually, compared to other cities, our awareness of providing the startup visa is still low. We are pretty open to any applicants from foreign countries.
Gotcha. Because I sometimes receive inquiries from people who maybe they're like a development shop, so or they're like a consultant, a development shop, like let's say they develop software, or maybe like a marketing agency.
Right.
They're like, oh, I want to get a startup visa. And I've heard of some cases in like Fukuoka, maybe a marketing agency or training company got it. But so I guess, yeah, what is kind of, and so which I wouldn't technically, I wouldn't consider them a startup. So I'm kind of curious, like, what is the definition of startup, at least for
Yeah,
Yokohama?
that's also always like a kind of a discussion point in our team as well. But I guess we kind of play by ear. When we receive that application, we'll also discuss with the team if we do consider them as startups or not. But in the
Gotcha.
meantime, we're really open to all the startups. Yeah.
Gotcha. So what would you say for like maybe like a traditional business, like a software development company? Like,
Yeah, basically like any tech companies.
oh, okay. So I guess
Mm.
any tech companies, even if they develop for other companies too.
Yeah, that's fine as well.
Hello, listeners. I'm excited to announce my live cohort course to help you increase your sales in Japan. Many foreigners struggle to turn first meetings into second meetings because they lack a sales pamphlet that follows the standard format in Japan. Even if you have a good first meeting, your internal contact will hand over your current sales pamphlet to the decision maker, and they'll take one look and say, they don't get Japan. My live 4-session cohort course will teach you how to make a sales pamphlet in English using the standard format in Japan. You will receive a sales pamphlet template, more than 10 examples from Japanese companies, and a lot of feedback, so you can end the course with a sales pamphlet that gets more meetings and therefore more sales. Getting one extra deal will more than pay off the course, so joining is a no-brainer. You can find more details of the course at scalingyourcompany.com/sales pamphlet. And we'll have a link in the show notes.
Okay.
Mm.
And could you tell us a little bit more about the subsidies that you offer?
Yes, for the subsidy plan, we have one for startups and also one for enterprises. For the enterprise, we provide up to 20% of the rent, up to 3 billion yen grant. Also, we have tax exemption maximum of 6 years. And for the startups, we also provide subsidies for rents. So around $100 per 1 square meter floor area, up to $6,000.
Gotcha. And for that one, so I guess it's 1 square meter. Probably your average office would probably be maybe 20 to 40 square meters. So possibly up to 2,000, 4,000.
Yep, roughly around that.
Okay. And for the tax exemption, is that on city tax and corporate tax? Or sorry, I guess city tax would be more income, but would that be corporate taxes?
Yeah, corporate tax.
And I think you also provide different types of supports depending on the stage of the company. Could you tell us more about that?
Yep. So one example is in the Kanai area, we have a hub for startups called the Yokuzo Box, which was established in 2019 in order to accelerate the growth of startups. And at this hub, we provide various programs to startups in different stages of their growth. From seed to late stages, we have various programs in line such as the Innovation School, Venture Pitch, Accelerator programs, and Management programs.
Yeah, if you could tell us about each of those programs.
Yep. So basically, the Innovation School is, I think, like 6 courses every other week. It actually will start in the second week of June. And every time we have different lecturers from different fields. And this is mainly for startups in the early phase.
How early is early?
How early? Maybe like with the idea stage.
Okay, idea to seed stage. Thank you.
And also we have the Yokohama Venture Pitch. This is basically for seed to early stage entrepreneurs that can have the opportunity to brush up their business plan and make a pitch to VCs. We also have the Yokuzo Accelerator program, and this is more for the seed to middle phase startups. And as any kind of accelerator program, this is to prepare startups to enter the middle to late stage. And there are various VCs and successful entrepreneurs that lecture them and brush up their business plan.
So you can jump into the management program.
So for the Yokuzo management program, this is more for the middle to late stage of the startups. And basically, this is for the startups to prepare for IPO or M&A and also build their knowledge on like team building and how to exit.
Yeah, I don't think too many cities provide that level or that support. So I think that is a unique one to Yokohama.
Probably it is, yes.
And yeah, I think the IPO process can be really complicated and there's so many things you have to do like through compliance. And it could actually be pretty expensive, I would say, bringing on an IPO consultant. So
Yeah.
I think that's pretty helpful.
Yes.
And so I think one question probably the listeners are curious, are there any success cases of a foreign company who set up in Yokohama City?
Yep. So Yokohama has put a lot of effort to encourage foreign companies to enter and expand to the city. So that's why we have all these kinds of subsidy plans and grants. And we have companies such as LG from Korea, Caterpillar, Lenovo, TSMC Design Tech, and most recently Samsung also established their R&D centers in Yokohama.
Interesting that even foreign companies like Samsung,
Yeah.
and I think you mentioned some other companies earlier setting up
LG.
research. Yeah, LG and even Hyundai.
Yeah, Hyundai as well. Yes.
It was pretty surprising, but very interesting. Okay. And who are some of the rising stars coming out of Yokohama?
So we have different kinds of startups putting effort to become like the next unicorn. Today, maybe I would like to share two of the startup companies that we support and are actually becoming more successful.
Go for it.
One is a company called CrossSync. So this is a venture company established in 2019 from the Yokohama City University. And they provide medical system to hospitals' ICU to automate the monitoring of patient vitals and motions to predict sudden changes in a patient's condition. And this system will reduce medical accidents and improve the life-saving rate, as well as solving the shortage of personnel in the medical field. And this company has participated in various startup support programs provided by the city since 2019. Such programs include Accelerator Program, Venture Pitch, and also the Management Program. And as of today, they raised a funding of approximately 660 million yen. And the second one is the deep tech startup named Link Us. And they are developing an ultrasonic complex vibration bonders that are environmentally friendly while maintaining strength that no other company can achieve. And as of today, they have raised a funding close to 4,000 million yen. And also they recently have been expanding overseas. We supported them at the recent Sushi Tech in May. So they were exhibiting at one of the booths for the city.
Gotcha. You provided a booth for them.
Yes, exactly.
One of the common challenges I see with my consulting clients is not having any staff internally who can drive marketing strategy and execution to the next level. This really limits the growth trajectory of a company, especially for a leader like you that wants to go from 30 million to 500 million yen a year and does not have the time to spend years learning through trial and error. To solve this problem, I'm launching a marketing agency that can help companies like yours to increase leads and closing rates through SEO, Google Maps, content marketing, and websites that convert. Head over to scalingyourcompany.com and book a free consultation. Let's talk about what your business needs are, where your current strategy is letting you down, and how we can help you see real results with the methods I've successfully implemented at multiple companies myself. Now, back to the episode. Cool. And so I think people know a bit about Yokohama City, but maybe in terms of a little bit of the history or the startup environment, could you please tell us a little bit more information?
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, Yokohama is a port city, and it was the first port to open to overseas free trade in 1859. So as a result, people in Yokohama developed a very open and international culture, accepting and adapting to new inventions. And many people from around the world and Japan came to Yokohama expecting something new and exciting to happen. And actually many food and products, services that we find today were introduced in Yokohama and spread throughout the nation, such as railways, telephone, photography, ice cream, bread, beer, and also different sports such as rugby, tennis, and baseball. And when people imagine Yokohama, they may think of either Chinatown or Minato Mirai. Actually, Minato Mirai is a fairly new business area with major global companies. And just a few kilometers away is the Kanai area, which is home to the city's favorite baseball team called DNA Basters. I'm also a fan. This area has a unique atmosphere that combines tradition and innovation. And in recent years, it has become home to many startups, creators, and artists. And so all of these global companies in the Minato Mirai area and the startups in the Kanai area are located within walking distance. So this allows them to engage in regular exchange and collaborations and events and workshops. And this encourages open innovation.
Awesome. And too bad they moved the Yokohama City office from Kanai to, I think, closer to Yokohama Station.
Yeah.
Or yeah, when I was involved with Yokohama City, I walked by the stadium many times. Or actually, our Yokohama branch was based in Kanai to be close to the Yokohama City.
Oh, you'll be surprised with how the
Nice,
scenery changed.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it looks much nicer now.
They're building like two big, huge buildings. So we're also trying to discuss like how we can involve them in the startup scene as well. It's going to be like a 50-story high building.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. No, it's interesting. I can see Kanai area being maybe where startups might gather.
Mm-hmm. We have a lot of different startup hubs as well, other than Yokuzo Box, and also a lot of drinking bars.
Yeah, Kanai
and
has
maybe
really
a famous
good food.
noge area with like small.
I miss the food court. Or we used to go out a lot. Great eat.
It's
pretty much anything you want, you can get.
And much cheaper than Tokyo as well.
What are some of the maybe business cultural differences with Yokohama, maybe compared to some other cities?
Yep. So as I mentioned, Yokohama, because it was the first port to open to free trade, we actually have this DNA engraved in us. Like we're very open and accustomed to new things and new culture and foreigners. So if foreigners approach us, we are very open to help them, and we're kind of not afraid to talk to them. So we very welcome the foreigner entrepreneurs.
And a lot of international stores as well. You can get pretty much anything.
Yes, any kind of food for all countries.
Greek, Indian, Jamaican, whatever you want.
Right.
But let's move on because it's making me want to eat things that I don't have access to in Hokkaido. So
come to Yokohama.
Yeah. And I guess what are the city's plans moving forward the next 3 years?
So we are actually in the middle of launching a new hub for tech startups this coming autumn. And here we will accelerate the growth of startups as well as building a global ecosystem by engaging with various startups, accelerators, and VCs from overseas. And the second one is we are also preparing ourselves for the Green Expo in 2027. And now we are planning the best way to involve foreign startups to participate in the showcase so that they can showcase their technologies at the expo. And for this, more information should be coming out. So please stay tuned. And finally, our ultimate goal is to create unicorns and next unicorns from the city. But of course, this doesn't happen overnight. And so we need to continue building the foundation and raising awareness as the innovation hub.
Thank you very much. And yeah, I mean, Yokohama has on the corporate end succeeded in bringing large corporates and helping them succeed. And yeah, look forward to that also happening for the startup scene as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So Yokohama, it's probably should have been first on my list of cities to interview, but I have a long history with the city, and it's the city that I enjoyed living probably 1/4 of my life in. So,
yeah, maybe because I joined the team too late.
And ironically, a lot of my, let's say, I'll call them my deshi, but from my company, they actually work for Yokohama City now in the education department.
Oh, really?
I think probably 2 or 3 maybe. So it's, the roots is still strong. But thank you very much for your time, and you prepared a lot for this interview. So thank you very much for that, Aya.
Thank you for having me today.